Hi, this is Stella from Better Life, and today we're talking about the concept of listening. You know, we hear a lot about the word communications. Communications being the conveying of information from one person to another. Well, what we don't hear a lot about is listening. You see, in order for communications, or effective communications, that is, to take place, somebody has to listen. So today we're going to talk about the 5 levels of listening. Yes, there are 5 different levels. Let's take them one by one. The first level of listening I call the ignoring stage. That's right. That's the stage when you're talking to somebody and while you're talking to them, they're looking at their watch or fiddling with something or sitting at the computer and still typing, and they make no eye contact. They make no effort to say to you, I am hearing and paying attention to what you're saying. So the first level of listening is ignoring. It is completely tuning you out even while you're speaking to them. And you may find this happens when when you're speaking to someone and they look up from their watch and they go, excuse me, what did you say? They were ignoring you. So the first level of listening is ignoring. The second level of listening is pretending. This is the person that acts like they're listening to you, but in reality, they're somewhere else in their mind. In other words, you'll be having a conversation, you'll say something like, let me tell you what happened at the office today. I was sitting across the table, and while we were at lunch and we were sharing information about, and so you're telling your story, and then out of the blue you'll say something like, oh, and Joan said, and you say, what did Joan say? That's pretending. They're pretending that they were listening to you. They're pretending that they were hearing what you were saying. But in reality, their mind was somewhere else. So the second level of listening is pretending. Here's the third, selective. Selective listening is when people pay attention to only what they want to hear. It's like a child comes home from school and says, Mommy, today on the playground we were playing and Johnny threw a ball and hit me upside the head, and then the parent, all of a sudden the child has described all of these events that happened that day, but as soon as she says, Johnny hit me upside the head with the ball, she goes, Johnny did what? That's selective listening. In other words, we pay attention to only what excites us or what we want to hear. So far we've talked about ignoring, pretending, and selective listening. Here's the fourth one, attending. This is when you're paying attention to what's being said. An example would be you talking to a coworker and you'll say, here are the files from the Davis account. Let me tell you first of all about Mr. Davis. Mr. Davis is one of our best clients. He has been with the company for more than 10 years. And so the person who's listening will say, okay, so Mr. Davis has been here for 10 years and he's one of our best clients. In other words, they're able to rephrase what you've said, which meant they heard your actual words. And then they can communicate that back to you, rephrase, and restate what you said. That's when a person is attending. In other words, they're paying attention to what is being said. Here's the last one, active listening. Active listening is the higher level of listening because this is where a person hears what you are saying and actually begins to connect with what you are saying using ideas, questions, and thoughts from their own minds. Let's use the example of the Davis account again. So you're telling your coworker, this is the Davis account. He's been one of our best customers and he's been with us for over 10 years. Really, Mr. Davis has been with us for over 10 years. Tell me about why you think he's been with us for so long. What is it about our products and services that has captivated Mr. Davis as one of our clients? That's active listening. In other words, you combine your ideas and your thoughts with the person you're communicating with. Now, these 5 levels of listening are very common. In fact, you will experience all of them, more than likely, on a daily basis. But to become an effective communicator, you will have to master the 2 higher levels. That's attending, which will always precede active listening. Attending is paying attention to what is being said, being able to restate it. In other words, say back to the speaker what they were saying in actual verbiage. Being able to rephrase. Rephrase means taking what was said and stating it in a slightly different way. A rephrase would be, Jennifer was really pissed off. Oh, so you're saying Jennifer was really upset about what happened today. That's a rephrase. So effective communications requires that you can attend and that you can listen actively. So what are the 5 levels of listening again? Level number 1, ignoring. That's not paying attention to the individual and not showing any signs that you're participating in the conversation. It could be communicated with things by looking at your watch, working on your computer. In other words, the individual you're communicating with makes no eye contact and no visible body references that say they're listening to you. Second, pretending. This is the person who will sit down in front of you and stare at you, and actually they're looking at the mole on your forehead or the spot on your shirt, and they're not really hearing anything that you say, and then out of the blue you'll say, Johnny, and they'll go, oh, excuse me, yes, what's that? They're pretending listening. Selective listening is number 3, hearing only what they want to hear. That's the person that picks out the meaning and the phrases that have meaning for them, but not necessarily in cultivating a positive and an effective relationship with you. It's selective listening. Then again, there's number 4, attending. This is paying attention to what's being said and actually being able to rephrase and restate some of the things that were said. Finally, there's active. Active listening is when real communications is taking place. Active listening is when you're able to combine your ideas with what's being said and probe for deeper information using what we call probing questions. Probing questions are those questions that allow you to dig for deeper details. A good probing question would sound like, tell me about what made you make that decision. Describe a way you can use this resource in a different context. Show me how. Give me more. All of these are leading phrases that allow you to probe. If you want more of a really good list on some effective probing questions, go ahead. Hit me on Facebook, Stella Payton, or shoot me an email at stellampp@aol.com, and I'll be glad to shoot you that list of probing questions. So, when you decide to be an effective communicator, make sure you take it upon yourself to master the art of effective listening. Be attentive and be active. This is Stella from Better Life, and you make it a terrific day.